American politics has evolved in that time span of 40 or 50 years, in which now religion has become a major focal point for elected officials and for candidates running for office. So that role has evolved and increased since the time period of the 1960s.
Sadly, there are many Catholic politicians and many Catholic voters who leave their religion at the door. And that's not been good for this country.
I'm a firm believer that religion and politics don't mix very well. And every time it does, we get into trouble.
For example, as a Christian, I can express my view, but imposing it in our country, I think, is not the right thing to do.
People in politics need the vote when it comes time for election. And so many times they'll pander to certain religious groups so that they will then come out and vote for them. But what's good and what's correct for one religious group isn't necessarily good or correct for another religious group.
Governments have to deal with the nation as a whole, and to support or favor one particular faith over another one provides an opportunity for discrimination and potential abuse of power.
I myself could not support any candidate who favored abortion. I don't think I could vote for Rudy Giuliani, and he almost certainly wouldn't be as bad on that issue as any of the Democratic candidates would be. I think John Edwards is probably even a less attractive candidate to the Catholic voter than Hillary Clinton.
A guy like Mike Huckabee, who's a former Baptist pastor, obviously would represent the Christian faith. But again, the bigger question is, would he be the best president? You know, because a president represents all people.
Our founding fathers had great foresight and wisdom in understanding that religious passions can, in some cases, have a detrimental impact on the governance of a nation.
If you look at our documents, they're greatly influenced by the Ten Commandments and other Bible principles, but in no way did they want everyone, or did they assume everyone coming to this country would be Christian.
In America today, because most of the country is Christian, it's the predominant religion, therefore Christianity has a greater sway over politics. That's just a matter of numbers.
As an influence, the evangelical movement definitely has a strong base in the United States at this time.
In this country, Christianity has, I would say, the much bigger voice. However, there is another religion which also has a huge voice, and that's secularism. Secularism is a religion. It's a religion that believes God should be banned from the public square. It is a deeply held conviction, and Christianity is its competitor.
I think we're here to help people grow spiritually and to do what they should in terms of being pleasing to the Lord, but I think it's a wrong place again for Christians, especially in the church, where we would get involved in the political arena. That is not what the church should be doing, and we deliberately do not do that.
I understand there are churches that actually tell their people who to vote for and this and that. That would be contrary to what we would do in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
I think, first of all, I applaud the increasing role that faith and religion are having in America. In fact, America is a very religious country. Joe Lieberman, in the preface to my book, says that in a country as religious as America is, where 61% of Americans say that religion is very important to them, to try to demand that Americans divorce their deeply held faith convictions from their public policy views is both an unnatural and an unnecessary act. And I think that when we allow people to bring their religious convictions to bear on public policy issues, and we don't try to disqualify them or to say that somehow some twisted interpretation of separation of church and state means they should be silent, then we're going to have a better conversation, and it's going to make Republicans better Republicans, it's going to make Democrats better Democrats, it's going to make independents better independents, and it's going to make the country a better country.
I'd be hesitant to speak for God on what he thinks of the current government of the United States.
We all have the same tenets taken from the Ten Commandments.
In the United States, we have attempted on a glorious journey that many times we forget. The idea that the common person could say that we have a right to rule ourselves, and we have had to reestablish and reconfirm the notion of freedom for individuals.
We are all creatures of the same God. We're all his handiwork. We've been made in God's image and likeness, endowed with intelligence and freedom.
I was filming the sunset over a mosque when one of the members of the mosque came outside and told me I wasn't allowed to film there. But their imam came outside then after him and was like, actually you can film whatever you want, you can even come in and film us praying, which added a lot to the piece. Our piece works definitely because of the wide variety of viewpoints. That's what carried the piece. Our interview shot with Father Gallus is a little bit wider. And the reason we framed it like that was just the sun was coming into the chapel at that time, and it looked really cool in the stained glass and on the seats and on him, and so we wanted to capture more of that and not just focus in on him as much.
In most of the films I've made, we've used loops already on the computers, but for this film, we decided that it'd be best to make an actual song. So I used the piano in our studio, and I wrote a bass piano line, and then I added the pickup, which was more upbeat,